Okay, I'm PV Sateesh. I live and work in Andhra Pradesh of India. I work with Deccan Development Society, of which I'm one of the founders. I was a professional filmmaker. I was a senior producer in the national television of India called Doordarshan. And I worked with it for about 15 years. Genesis of television in India for me was when India decided to have a kind of a early satellite television and direct to village transmission. So I was groomed in the development television framework. That's what I studied. I was working with about 400 villages. So I started building a kind of a platform, used television as a kind of a platform for all these villages to come together, discuss, share their issues, problems, their successes, their failures and everything. I was deeply satisfied doing that kind of a job. And during that process, I had a lot of interaction with village people. So I had come from a background of great arrogance that as these big media people, we know everything and we don't have to be told anything by anyone. And having been groomed in that kind of an atmosphere, for me, the kind of knowledge, the kind of perspectives that the rural people brought was extremely fascinating. So more and more, this fascination built up in me. So slowly the television started moving away from the rural people. More and more urban programs started getting accommodated. And people like us who had a lot of experience in television making at that time, we were kicked up the ladder. And so we became national transmitters, the international broadcasters, and big sports event broadcasters. This had a kick of its own for a period of time. We used to get all the time this kind of a message that the image that you are transmitting is reaching 1 billion homes today. Excellent. What a great feeling it is. But after a while, it started becoming stale. The same 12 cameras, 3 computer inputs, sit in front of that huge panel and tell the cameraman this, that and the other. All right, you said it for a while and then said it's the same bloody 12 cameras, it's the same bloody 12 angles, and it is the same inputs. They all come in the same corner of the television. So what the hell are you doing here? It's at that time that I took a decision to quit television. And by that time we had founded the Deccan Development Society. And I went into activism. One of the challenges I always used to make to everybody, whether it was an agricultural scientist, whether it was a forester, whether it was an educationist, I used to say that, look, you are dealing with a set of people who are far more knowledgeable than you. So why must you consider yourself an expert? Demystify your knowledge, share it with people, come on a kind of a level playing field. This was fine for some time. And then somewhere I started saying, okay, you tell others, are you demystifying your own knowledge and your own profession? Are you sharing with people? So when this kind of a, so to say, inner voice became very loud, I said I must do something about it. That's when I started the issue of participatory video at that time. I was working with non-literate women in Andhra Pradesh in India, and they all came from the Dalit background, outcast people, totally marginalized. So they were non-literates also. But they had so much to offer to the society. They had such knowledge and wealth in them. So I said, this literacy, which is sort of sold to us as a holy grail, if you are non-literate, you are a second-class person. This must go. We must do something about it. So I looked at it from these 3 angles. I thought participatory video could be one answer to it. It doesn't need literacy, and people can completely own up and take control of that. And thirdly, it can be an answer to the big media, the mainstream media. So I got into the participatory video, and from there I have now moved to what I would like to call people's video. So I have no role in it anymore, and it's completely theirs. The first set of people that I started working with was a group of 10 women from the villages around where I live and work. They are all Dalit women. They come from low income backgrounds, so in terms of poverty riches, they are further marginalized. Being women, they are gender marginalized. Being rural, they are habitat marginalized. So these are people who suffer from multiple marginalization. So I thought maybe this is a tool which can give them a lot of power. And so I started working with them, and it was a beautiful experience in the sense that we started inventing our own vocabulary. Some political meaning started coming into it. For example, a low-angle shot where your subject dominates you became a Patel shot in the parlance of the women. Patel is the landlord. So it was a landlord shot. Similarly, a high-angle shot where the subject is very meek and demeaned became a kind of a slave shot. They call it Gaidola shot. The most beautiful term that they invented was Sangam shot, because Sangam is the collectives in which they work. And in this collective, everybody sits on the ground and have the same level of eye contact. So they called the eye level shot Sangam shot. So that was a shot of equalities. And these 10 women started working with their communities, made several programs on their issues, shared it in the villages, it was taken around, it was played. In a neighboring district of ours, the BT cotton, which is the genetically engineered cotton, has come up. So the women became a kind of a video researchers of what this BT cotton is doing to farmers. So every month they went to the same set of farmers from the day they planted the BT cotton to the day they harvested it. And so they brought the stories of what has happened to these farmers. This film became such an important thing because for the first time in the history of India probably, nobody had done this kind of a research which was so authentic, which was so close to farmers and by farmers, for the farmers. And it became an evidence in front of the genetic engineering regulatory body of India. And so as a result, it was such an overwhelming evidence that the seeds were banned, and Monsanto, the company which was selling the seeds, was asked not to sell the seeds in the state of Andhra Pradesh. That was a major, major gain. And as a kind of a follow-up of that, the women started looking at the BT cotton in the global south, because we are part of several alliances, several networks, and every time we meet, the women also come and sit and observe what is happening. And so they decided that they will make a film on the global south. So they went to South Africa, which is supposed to be a showcase for BT cotton, talked to the small farmers in an area called Makatini where they grow BT cotton, went to Indonesia from where Monsanto was kicked out because of corruption scandals, went to Thailand where there is surreptitious illegal cultivation of BT cotton supported by the government bureaucrats, and then came to Mali where there was a huge farmers' jury which rejected genetically engineered cotton. So they made a film called A Disaster in Search of Success, BT Cotton in Global South. So essentially what has happened is this group of women who started off as community video makers for their own communities to bring about a kind of a horizontal sharing and debates now have grown into a kind of a global stature. They are women talking to other women, they are farmers talking to other farmers across the globe, and that is for me the power of the community video.